Good morning, good morning, good morning, and welcome to Power Up. I'm your host, Dr. Marci Bryant, and I'm excited. I'm excited to be with you on today because not only is this the day that the Lord has made, not only am I rejoicing and being glad in it, I am also excited about the new young guests that we're bringing before you on today to let you know that God is in our lives at any age. We don't have to wait until we are in our middle ages and the last part of our ages when God is with us all the time. And our guest today is Arianna. Did I pronounce that correctly?
Yes, Arianna, yep.
Arianna Fox. And Arianna Fox, as I understand, is 14 years old.
Yep.
Is that correct? Okay. Now she has led and is leading a very, very interesting life. And I want to encourage those of you who are watching on today, not just to listen to her story, but I want you to understand that success and goal setting and goal accomplishing is yours regardless of what age you are. If you have dreams in your heart, if you have a skill or a gifting from God above, you can use it now. So the first thing that I want to do for you is to allow Arianna to introduce herself in her own way, and then we're going to get to the meat of who she is and what she's doing and how she's affecting lives, even at 14 years old. So, Arianna, please introduce yourself in your own way.
Awesome. Firstly, thank you so much for having me. And secondly, I'm Arianna Fox. I am a girlpreneur, a double and best-selling author, motivational speaker, actress, and voiceover talent, and teen influencer. I'm the author of two books, and I'm currently working on my third.
My goodness, you're doing a lot at 14 years old. Now tell me, how did it happen for you that you are involved in so many of these awesome, awesome situations at such an early age? How did it begin?
Wow. Well, they all began so many different ways. For entrepreneurship and starting my own business, that was kind of a given because my parents were always entrepreneurial and they started their own business. And so ever since the age of 6, I had been going out and going to chamber mixers and events with them and giving my spiel. And so that kind of just really just stemmed from the entrepreneurship side. But when it came to writing and inspiring people and impacting lives, I always kind of knew I had those two main passions above all. And I always knew, this is actually kind of an interesting story. I knew I wanted to be a writer and an author when I grew up. And so I told my parents, I said, I want to be an author when I grow up. And my parents, they're like, why wait? Why not now? Why not start these steps to achieving your success now? And I absolutely loved that. And that helped me to write at like 6 years old. I wrote my first book. It just took years and years and years to get the illustrations. So that's why I published it around 10 years old. And then with the inspiring people, I always had the passion to impact people. I always had the passion to motivate people. And sometimes I didn't really quite know how I was supposed to do that. And I was like, okay, how am I supposed to impact and motivate people? But years and years and years later, fast forward to when I'm like around 10 years old, my parents woke me up one morning and they were like, wait a minute. What if you became a motivational speaker? And I was like, yes, because that totally culminated with the passion that I had.
So your parents have played a major role in helping you to get to where you are. Oh, that is good. They are to be commended, and you definitely need to be commended. Now, I want to talk about the very first book, the one about the princesses. I want you to tell us the inspiration behind that and if you had any particular roadblocks that got in the way anywhere along the way, and if so, how did you overcome them? So again, the premise of the book, what caused you to write that? What audience are you speaking to? Yes.
Absolutely great question. So this is my first book called The Princess Chronicles, and it's about these princesses. It's a children's book about these princesses that are learning kindness, friendship, forgiveness, trust, teamwork, honesty, all those important qualities and values and morals. And what was actually very interesting was that even though this book is really for all kids and all children, no matter what walks of life they come from, I actually originally wrote the Princess Chronicles with some very Christian qualities in mind. In fact, when I wrote the Princess Chronicles, it was originally going to be entirely Christian, but then I was like, okay, let's just make it to where it's positive and Christian based, so it'll affect everyone. And so I actually was exactly, and so it affects everyone. And this was basically my first book I ever wrote. But like you said, there were obstacles. The biggest obstacle was, like I said, the illustrators, because there would be, we would try to hire different illustrators to illustrate it, because it's a children's book. There need to be illustrations. And so we were going to try to hire different illustrators and all that kind of stuff. But you can only hire one illustrator. You can't everybody would just take it, they would do a few pages, and then they would just drop it. And you can't do that. You can't have that for a book. Oh, and so, I know, it's crazy. So then we were just like waiting for years and years, and finally we found this one person who was actually an intern for our business, my parents' business, graphic design and social media business, and many more. And she did watercolor. And we were like, when we saw her work and we saw what she did, we were like, wow, this is really good. This is amazing. And so we were like, you know what if you took on this project of, my parents were like, what if you took on this project of our daughter's book? And so, yes, just like you said, my parents have had an amazing, amazing role in helping me to, to succeed and to achieve my dreams. And I definitely, thank them so much for that. But yes, absolutely. There were obstacles, but we definitely overcame them.
You overcame them. I think that is absolutely wonderful. Is there any time along the way that you felt like you wanted to give up?
That's a great question. With the Princess Chronicles, no, because it was a very, very easy thing to write. But with False Awakening, and even possibly with the book I'm working on now, there have been a few times where I felt that. But because I just have this immense passion for writing and also for inspiring people with my writing, I have really, really, really just like, okay, I can't give up. This is one of my many things that I want to do,
That's right. I am glad to hear that energy, having come from a background of writing myself several books. And there were times where some were easier to write than others, and some I just had to table. But the bottom line is that judging or pulling off of your energy as I am, that you seem to.
Prayer is our pipeline to God. And let's face it, we all need prayer from time to time. If you are standing in need of prayer, please contact us through our prayer line 909-318-7015. We have 24/7 prayer warriors available for you, so you can call at any time. God wants to hear from you. He wants to meet your need today.
Very secure in who you are. And that is absolutely amazing. Now, what happens when you run into someone your age that probably feels that, how can you be doing so much at a young age? Or how can I get started in this? I'm talking about the naysayers, and I'm sure that you run into a few here and there. How did you handle that?
That's a great question. In fact, I actually have a really, really funny and interesting story about that. One day when I was around 10 years old, I started, my parents and we started the idea of the big ideas kid coaching, which is my business. And we were starting this idea. We were like, wow, this is going to be great. I'm going to be a motivational speaker. I'm going to inspire lives. Yeah. And then what was really, really interesting was there was this one business colleague of ours that we had known for a while, and she worked for this really big company, and she loved what I was doing, and she loved the stuff I was doing. And so she's like, I want you to make a little video about who you are and what you intend to do, and I'm going to play this in my board meeting at my board meeting. And so I made the video. My daddy took his phone with the video, and he went to this board meeting, because I don't think I was invited, but he went to this board meeting, and then it was full of like older adults who really just they didn't like the idea of a young kid doing so much and being a business owner, and they were all just like, she doesn't have enough experience and all this stuff. And when my daddy came back and told me what happened, we were just kind of laughing about it, because it doesn't matter what other people think. What really matters is that we've got each other as a family, and also that if I have a gift that was given from God, then you know that I need to use that, and it doesn't matter what anybody else thinks, as long as I keep believing myself and know that God believes in me. You know, we can rock it.
Isn't that wonderful? Something that you said really stuck. You know, it doesn't matter what somebody else thinks, because this is your journey. This is what you are all about. And this is what brings not only happiness to you and your family, but you're presenting yourself in such a way to help improve the lives of others. Okay. And I think that is absolutely marvelous. So in the second part of this interview, which is going to happen shortly, I want to talk about people your own age and how they're receiving you and what you're doing. Okay. So what we're going to do now, Arianna, is we're going to take a little break. We're going to be right back. And not only are we going to talk about what I just said, we're also going to talk about your second book, The Awakening, is it?
False Awakening, yes.
The False Awakening. We're going to talk about that. And we're also going to talk about how you want individuals and people to get in touch with you. Okay? All right.
Absolutely. So, sounds great.
Thank you so much. We're going to take a break, and we'll be right back.
Prayer is our pipeline to God. And let's face it, we all need prayer from time to time. If you are standing in need of prayer, please contact us through our prayer line 909-318-7015. We have 24/7 prayer warriors available for you, so you can call at any time. God wants to hear from you. He wants to meet your need today.
And we are back. If you're just joining us, we're talking to Arianna Fox, who is just a delight to interview. And I am so glad that that the Lord God is a major part of her life. Her parents are certainly significant into what she's doing now. And she's going to share with us how this interaction that she has, being a motivational speaker, being a published author, all of the entrepreneur, everything that she's doing now, how she is interacting with people her own age. Tell us about that.
That's a great question. I would say I'm interacting with people my own age in so many different ways. For one, by my speaking events, like I've mentioned, I've done tons of speaking events to not only little kids but also tweens, and even my last speaking event was to over 600 students at a high school, Lake Forest High School here in Delaware. And so I have been speaking and talking to people my age for a long time. And because I'm homeschooled, I'm actually able to talk and socialize very well with not only kids my age, but also with adults as well, pretty equally. And so, yeah, that's been pretty interesting. But I've always been trying to make sure. Oh, go ahead.
I was going to ask you, what is one question that you get more often than another? Like when the kids ask you your own age, what do they say? more than anything else? What do they ask you?
Well, that's a good question. A lot of different people have asked me a lot of different things, some very unique questions, some that are kind of like, normal ones, like what do you plan to do in 5 to 10 years? Those kind of things. But I guess for the kids, a lot of kids have asked me about how to overcome things, how to really, how to get past obstacles. And I have so many things that I tell them about overcoming obstacles and achieving their dreams. And that no matter what, right, there we go. And that no matter what you're doing, no matter what you're going through, that you can absolutely achieve your dreams and overcome obstacles. Definitely.
Okay, that's good. And they need to hear that, don't they? That they can overcome and achieve. Because I'm sure you're running into people who feel like, how can I do this? Do they ever say that? How do you do this? How do you do this? And you just tell them you just do it. Now you get it done. Okay. Now, I understand the concept of your first book. And is it true they can get it on Amazon and all the regular places, the book places? Can they get it as an ebook? How do they get that book?
Absolutely. So for both of my books, you can find them on Amazon.com, like you mentioned. You can like just regular on Amazon. You can also find them on BarnesandNoble.com. You can also find them for a personalized signed copy from my website, AriannaFox.com. That's AriannaFox.com. That's for a personalized signed copy. But yeah, and then like you said, you can also find the Kindle ebook as well on Amazon.
That's good. And your own website, ariannafox.com. Okay. Now, the second book, tell us a little bit about the second book. Show it to us. And what inspired you to write that?
False Awakening. Is it a dream or reality?
Yes.
So basically, False Awakening is a sci-fi novel for teens and young adults and really all ages. And what inspired me to write that? Well, it's actually pretty funny. It was during this time where I was doing some research just for fun about lucid dreaming. And I was doing this research and looking it up, and I was telling my parents, like, oh, this is so cool. And one of the things I found out about was that there's such a thing as a false awakening. And what a false awakening is when you have a dream that you are basically that you feel like you're waking up, like you're doing, maybe even performing your normal daily routine, but you're actually in a dream. You're actually asleep. And it's funny because I think I actually had one of those last night. So funny timing there. But False Awakening, once I told my parents about what that was, my parents were like, oh, that's like a cool title for a book. And I was like, yeah. And they're like, you should write about that. And so really the biggest inspiration was that. And then I came up with the characters, Chris Coleman and Taryn Johnson, and I came up with the names, and I came up with all the people and the plot and everything, and then the resistance and the bad guys, Eric Kane, and all those characters. And it just really got way more fleshed out. And then when my first editor went through it, that's when the plot was majorly fleshed out. But yeah, absolutely. That has been a wild, hectic ride, but I love it.
You love it. Okay. So that book is also out, and there are plans for that book even beyond putting it in the hands of people who like to read. What other plans are out for that book?
Absolutely. So number one, False Awakening, as I forgot to mention, is it's a best-selling novel on Amazon, an Amazon bestseller, which is super exciting. But yes, absolutely, it is in contract right now to become a movie. A movie. Oh, I was just like, when we first thought about it a long time ago, like, oh, it would be so cool if my books were made into movies. Wow, what like imagine, what do you want to see tonight? Oh, how about False Awakening? Or how about this? How about that? And so, but really to actually have that dream become a reality, no pun intended, is really amazing. And I've just been utterly blown away. Absolutely.
Isn't that wonderful? How has all of this success that's come to you at such an early age, how do you handle your prayer time or your solitude time? What do you do when you're alone, when you're talking to God about this? I mean, how do you just kind of transition in and out, because everybody needs a little me time, some cool down time, some thank you time. Just tell me about that special time when you're in prayer and talking to God about what's happening with you and so on and so forth.
Definitely. So I just wanted to add before I answer that, just real quick about False Awakening. I just wanted to give a big, huge thank you and shout out to my publishers, Ron Mumford of Third Coast Books, and also my editor, amazing editor, Ian Gorman of Third Coast Books, and also Keith Barrows and 360 Studios, which are the producers and the peeps that are going to be making my book into a movie and basically making that dream into reality. So definitely shout out. Yeah. Absolutely. So yes, anyway, to answer that question of yours, that's actually a really, really, really good question. Well, there are so many different ways, so many times where, it's really important to just pause in the middle of a day or in the middle of life. And like you said, to thank God, to be grateful, even just to pray about whatever. I pray all the time and everywhere, that instead of just like setting aside a certain amount of time to just be alone, I pray everywhere, in the shower, wherever, it's everywhere possible. Always just being grateful and praying for whatever, whatever is in our hearts that like, oh my goodness, we need this. Definitely 100%.
I love that. Be grateful. Be grateful.
Yep.
And
no matter where you are.
Thankful, no matter where you are. That is absolutely good information. Now, if someone wanted to get in contact with you, let's say to have you come and speak to their group, how would they contact you?
Okay, so they could contact me a billion places, but preferably for any speaking events, you can email us. That's probably the best way, is afox@ariannafox.com for any speaking inquiries. That's afox@ariannafox.com. And then in general, to contact me, I am at afox author on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. That's afox author, and Arianna Fox on LinkedIn and YouTube. And like I said, you can find me. You can find my email or go to my site for any. I think there's also a form on my site if you'd like to fill that out as well. And then also my books are there.
Okay, and your books are there, so they can actually order books from your site, ariannafox.com. They probably can also from your site go just about anywhere. Can they connect to the Twitter or any of the other places? So if they went to ariannafox.com, they basically can reach you for anything that you're involved in, correct?
Yep, any speaking inquiries, absolutely. I'm always open.
Always open. That's good. And I did hear you say earlier that you're homeschooled. And so that kind of helps you be open to information that's coming in. How's that going for you, being homeschooled at a time like this?
Oh, it's amazing. And it's actually really funny, but I've always been homeschooled my entire life. And it's really funny because most of the people out there who are now homeschooling, they're just homeschooling right now because of COVID-19 and everything. But I'm just like, oh yeah, now you're getting a glimpse of my life here because I've always been homeschooled. And I love it though. It's amazing. And it's so great because I'm able to spend not only to learn, but also to learn in a comfortable environment and spend time with my parents and be close as a family. And then also because I'm homeschooled, then it's way more, like you mentioned, way more flexible for any speaking inquiries. If I have to, memorize a script, or do an audition for my acting, since I'm an actress or voiceover actress, anything of that sort of stuff, it's always like way more open and flexible. But yeah, I love it. And it's amazing. In fact, and lots of learning going on. Just the other day, I actually received my certificate for one of my hobbies is learning languages, and I intend to be a polyglot one day. So when I just the other day I received a certificate on Busuu of like 100% acing the test of A2 or no A1. Sorry, A1. So yeah, that's A1 in Spanish. So yeah, no, definitely lots of learning.
Very good. And in about 30 seconds or less, what advice would you give a young entrepreneur, someone who's wanting to maybe become an author, someone who is thinking about going a path of whatever their dreams are? What advice would you give them?
I'll tell them exactly what my parents told me, and that is, why wait? why not start now? You are never, ever too young to achieve your dreams. You're never too old either. But if you're talking, if I'm talking to a young person, I would definitely say you are never too young to achieve your dreams, to start the steps. And if it's something like, let's say, you want to be an author, then write the manuscript now. If it's something like let's say a basketball star or something to that effect that you can't really be right now because you have to be an adult for, then at least start the steps to make that reality a dream, and make that dream a reality, so learn things, Google stuff. You have the internet at your fingertips. So definitely.
That's right. Well, you've heard it here. Arianna Fox, she's saying, don't wait. Do it now. Start the steps. Oh my gosh, this has been such a powerful, powerful interview. Arianna, I want to thank you for your time being here. You certainly do live up to the theme of this show, ordinary people doing extraordinary things. There is nothing ordinary about what you're doing. It is absolutely great. I applaud you. Thank you for agreeing to be on the show. And we just look forward to hearing many great things from you. Okay?
Thank you so much. And thank you for having me on.
All right. Thank you. This is Dr. Marci Bryant reminding you that you should continue to press toward the mark of excellence, and that everything that is in you that can be accomplished in this lifetime if you believe in yourself, believe in God, and keep going. God bless you, and I look forward to talking to you next week.
Thank you so much for being a part of the Power Up Ministry. We thank you that you tune in each week to see us and to hear from these inspiring guests to let you know just what God is doing in their lives. And we would invite you to be a partner with us so that we can continue to bring you uplifting and motivating stories. If you, for a donation of any amount, feel led, send us a donation and we will send to you a copy of my book, Will the Laughter Come Again, which talks about a journey from pain to joy. We've all known pain in our lives, and we've certainly known joy. So we want to tell you today that you can get a copy of this inspiring book if you would just donate any amount to the ministry so that we can keep inspiring others to be the best that God has called them to be. Thank you.